Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next hour. Latest UN economic report says India will stay world's fastest growing major economy in 2026, despite global slowdown, list tax reforms and monetary policy easing as key factors. Nationwide internet blackout in Iran as protests persist. US President Donald Trump warns severe action if protesters are killed amid unrest. US Senate votes to bar Trump from further military action against Venezuela without approval. President Trump criticizes GOP senators for backing resolution. NASA astronauts to return from space station early after medical issue. Crew stable, early return not an emergency but due to lingering risks, says NASA. An Indian shuttler PV Sindhu and double pair of Satvik and Chirag will be in action in the quarterfinals of the Malaysia Open 2026. And on to the details now. Amid signs of a global economic slowdown, India is set to remain the fastest growing major economy in the world in the coming years. According to the latest United Nations report, strong domestic demand and government investment will continue to support India's economic growth. As per the World Economic Situation, and Prospects 2026 report released by the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs, India's economy is projected to grow by 6.6% in 2026 and 6.7% in 2027. Now, the report notes that robust domestic consumption and public investment will largely offset the negative impact of higher tariffs imposed by the United States. It also says that recent tax reforms and monetary policy easing are likely to provide additional support to economic activity in the near term. According to the UN report, India's growth rate will be the highest among the world's major economies. The report estimates that China's economy will grow by 4.6% in 2026, while the United States is projected to register a much lower growth rate. The U.S. economy is expected to grow by 2% in 2026, rising slightly 2.2% in 2027. At the global level, economic growth is also expected to remain subdued. The United Nations projects global growth of around 2.7% in 2026 and 2.9% in 2027. Geopolitical tensions, trade restrictions, and financial stress in several countries continue to weigh on the global economy. The report adds that despite current global challenges, strong domestic demand in large emerging economies like India can play a crucial role in providing stability into regional and global economic growth. And for more on this, we have Akhilesh Suman joining us. Well, Akhilesh, yesterday the first advanced estimates of GDP 2025-26 came, which is expected to grow at a rate of 7.4% in the current financial year, up from 6.5% in 24-25. And now the UN projects India as the fastest growing major economy amid a global slowdown. What are the key factors that make India the fastest growing major economy?
Actually, Lipakshi, India is the largest market, open market in the world, and India is also the largest population in the world. And, being a democracy also gives you, another cushion that you can, confront with the major challenges that is facing the world. Actually, because of the Middle East tensions and also because of Russia-Ukraine conflict, almost all countries of the world are feeling the brunt. But India in between has taken many major steps that has given boost to the internal market. Domestic market has strengthened and domestic consumption has also increased. And because of livelihood projects inside the countryside, and also because of many subsidies being given to the farmers, domestic market has a very strong purchasing power. And because of this purchasing power, our internal market are quite stabilized and quite dynamic. Money circulation is also very good, and also liquidity of the market is also very commendable, and that gives India very strong footing that you can face the challenges of many economic powers of the world. And that is why among the major economies of the world, India is still the fastest growing economy. And that gives not only boost to India, but I can tell you that even South Asian countries, because of this phenomena in India, are getting some strength. Because the projections by the UN report also says that South Asian countries are also doing very good, because almost all the South Asian markets like Maldives, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, they are all connected to Indian market, and that is why they are also doing very good in that way.
Right.
East Asian countries are also doing very well because of our connection with the East Asian countries, our connectivity with the East Asian countries. So I think India is giving not only stability to Indian economy, but also giving stability to the surrounding nations, Lipakshi.
Absolutely. Also, Akhilesh, a strong domestic demand is being seen as India's biggest strength. How is India's large consumer base helping shield the economy from global shocks right now?
The basic nature of economy is that if you have money circulating inside the market, and if you have money going inside the banks and coming outside the banks, it gives everyone some level playing field. And one of the major things that India has displayed the whole world, and the whole world can emulate from Indian experience, the digital economy, the whole experience of digital payment to the local market, and also to the online marketing websites and like Amazon, Flipkart, and there are so many online marketing companies who are doing very good business. And this keeps domestic markets very thriving and very dynamic, and it also creates job for small time job, and also dynamic jobs like for youth who are not very well educated. They are also getting very regular job in these marketing apps. So in that way, I think every sector of Indian economy is doing in a dynamic practice. And because of this dynamic practice, that Indian domestic circulation of money is giving very good flow. And that is why, even if you see the construction business, our prices, house prices are quite good, quite higher, but still people are purchasing. That means there is money in the pocket of the people. And banks are giving easy loans to buy cars, to buy houses, unlike many other countries where people are not willing to take plunge into these things, costly consumable items. Indian population, there are many segments of Indian population. There are middle class, there is lower middle class, there is upper middle class, and there are higher up class, and every class has their own demand. And every class is buying, going to the market, purchasing things, and that gives boost to our industries, our banking system, our local market, and also our purchasing apps. So I think this gives a very good experience, and this the whole world may emulate and understand from the Indian experiments that how can you keep your economy stable among the uncertainties and ongoing conflicts in many parts of the world, Lipakshi.
Absolutely, Akhilesh. As you said, the money is circulating in the economy, but also government investment has played such a major role in driving growth. How is India's focus on infrastructure and capital expenditure supporting the long-term economic momentum?
That is very, very commendable experience of India and commendable experiment by Indian, planners. that the road networks in India. It gives connectivity to almost all parts of the country, from north to south, from east to west, from Delhi to Bombay, from Delhi even you can go to northeastern states by train now. So in that way, if you have connectivity from all parts of the country, I think it also gives boost to your market. And this is basically the public investment. The government thinks that connectivity is important for circulation of goods, circulation of people, movement of people from one part of another. So it creates market everywhere. So in that way, I think public investment is very important. And because of the public investment, even private sectors, get encouraged. Once you get public investment in infrastructure sector, private investment are encouraged to invest in other ancillary industries accordingly. So I think public investment, supported by private investment and also supported by MSME activities, and everyone in India feels entrepreneur way that they want to do some business. They are very busy. Indians are very busy. If you go on roads, everyone is busy going to their offices, going to their businesses, either going to the market. So every roads are always full of traffic. So that means that people are active for economic activities. And that is a very good strength of India, even when we have the largest population, quite many segments in our country. But everyone is active economically, and that gives, I think, a major boost to our economy, added by public investment.
All right. Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for all those details. And our correspondent Akhilesh Suman spoke to Christopher Garraway, economist at the UN Resident Coordinator's Office in Delhi. Listen in.
The United Nations came up with a revealing report about world economic situation's prospect in 2026. And here with me is Christopher Garraway, the economist of UN in India. Chris, do you mean that India will still be the fastest growing economy, major economy in the world in 2026?
Yes, our global projections indicate India will continue to grow faster than all the other major economies. Although the globally growth will slow from 2.8 to 2.7% annually. India, which was growing about 7.4% in 2025, will grow at 6.6% in 2026, according to our estimates, and then 6.7% in 2027, which will continue to make it the fastest growing major economy.
So how do you think that India will grow so fast in 2026?
India's strong growth is underpinned by strong private consumption. There's also has been significant monetary easing, which has aided in India's growth. There's been tax reforms, which have been supportive as well, and there's been strong capital expenditure that is investment, public investment, that has helped support that growth.
So what will be the global situation in 2026?
So 2026, we forecast the global economy to be stable, but a little bit more subdued. There's a bit more uncertainty as we see the impacts of the geopolitical tensions take place, come into effect. We see growth, as I said, going from about 2.8% in the past year to 2.7% going forward.
So what the UN prospect says that, India is a silver lining in the world economy. Akhilesh Suman for DD India in Delhi.
All right, as we said, amid signs of a global economic slowdown, India is set to remain the fastest growing major economy in the world in the coming years. According to the latest United Nations report, strong domestic demand and government investment will continue to support India's economic growth. And for more on this, we have Dr. Amit Kapoor, economist, joining us for more on the report. Yes, welcome to the studio, sir, Dr. Amit.
Thank you.
Firstly, I wanted to just say that yesterday the first advanced estimates of GDP which is expected to grow at a rate of 7.4%, up from 6.5% in the previous year. And now the UN projects India as the fastest growing major economy. What are the key factors that make India go so fast?
So, this is a very important question and people should learn from what India is doing. So there are 2 or 3 very big factors as to what is driving this. One is effectively the kind of infrastructure investment India is making. If you really look at the road infrastructure, the railway infrastructure, etc. Like if you really look at it, the investment in infrastructure is one of the biggest driving forces. And infrastructure also has a huge multiplier. Because whenever you invest in infrastructure, the GDP multiplier will be minimum of 2.2%. And that's from the historical data that you can actually, or 2.2 times, and that's the historical data. The second thing, if you really look at it, is that there is the whole reform that happened because of GST that is strengthening the household consumption. And there is clear evidence that people are spending more right now. In the last Diwali season, which has just happened in the last 3-4 months, there is a huge blip or a huge bump in the consumption patterns that we are seeing. The other thing that you're really looking at it is that government is easing the pressure on because of interest rates. And since that has happened, there is larger pool of money available, a cheaper pool of money available that improves the cost competitiveness of the country. And there are other things that the government has done. Yesterday, there was this whole the thing on MSME exports that has actually been happening. And the other thing, when you talk about the Indian economy, typically we were worrying that US sanctions will have a huge impact. What we are seeing is a very limited impact at this point in time. And then as India is diversifying exports, that is also going to be driving the economic growth. I think right now 7.4% is subdued. India has the potential to grow faster. In fact, if the global headwinds reduce, I would suspect that we would start touching growth rates of about close to 9 to 10% in the next 12 to 18 months.
All right. Also, strong domestic demand is a key pillar of India's growth, as we know. How does India's large consumer base also help insulate the economy from the global shocks which the whole world is facing right now?
So it's always about consumption itself, because when you have domestic demand or sophisticated domestic demand, what you would see is that people are asking for more, people are actually moving ahead. So if you really look at India in the last 10 to 15 years, our consumption disparity has significantly reduced. You have started moving towards more sophisticated products as well. The poverty rates are down. So once the poverty rates or the multidimensional poverty index, as you look at it, we are less than about 5% right now. So what we are, and then of course people are spending. If you really look at the middle class itself or the top end of the system, there is a large pool of money that is available to be spent. And we are seeing that evidence. If you really look at the top 10% of the Indian economy, which you would call as the middle class, the upper middle class, that is really consuming fairly strongly. Even the bottom 90%, if you want to say bottom 90% or bottom 30% or 40%, they are consuming, and the consumption thing is improving. That is also seeing a rationalization because of GST. I think GST reform of lower taxation was a very important impetus on domestic demand. And as incomes rise over a period of time, we are clearly seeing that evidence as well, that as incomes rise, the demand will increase. But the most important factor here is that we have started moving away from basics to much more sophisticated products. And that's the important fillip, because that will improve the demand for value-added products in India. That will improve other sets of things in terms of, say, India becomes more innovative, etc. So we are on a very interesting trajectory. In fact, a very interesting point was made about a few days back that India is in that Goldilocks period. And I fundamentally agree with it, because as the demand increases, demand sophistication, as GDP grows, as GDP per capita increases, the demand conditions will improve, so demand for sophisticated products will improve, you will see innovation happen, and so on and so forth. So India is insulated because of that. And I think even if India just is totally cut off from the world, assume for a minute, India is not going to suffer so dramatically, because it is our internal consumption, internal demand, the internal market, which drives our country very, very strongly.
All right. So as you said, India is in the Goldilocks period. And of course, the GST reforms have really helped. But India's outlook remains very strong. Does this show India's increasing economic self-reliance and diversification of the trade partners?
Oh, definitely. I think the whole diversification that we are seeing right now, especially because of exports, and given what has happened over the last few years, starting with COVID, because when COVID happened, we were thinking that it is going to really kill the economy or whatever,
Yes.
and we were hitting a roadblock. But the kind of reforms that we have seen, the kind of export impetus that we have seen, the China plus one strategy that was actually happening, and we are seeing fruits to that. The production link incentive schemes that are there, they are bearing fruit. The whole cluster-based approach of large anchor firms with small and medium enterprises coming around those areas, and that whole multiplier is also seeing a positive impetus right now. So if you really look at India itself, and then of course trade as well, we are moving in from the government policy has been that we should move away from basic products to value-added products, and we are already seeing those sets of benefits. And it's just not about trade or what I call merchandise trade. It is also about services. Like as India moves into the world of AI, we are seeing that much more sophisticated technology products are also going to come through. It is only a question of time as to what India is really going to see. Right now, we are at about 4.2, $4.3 trillion. And I do fundamentally believe that India is going to be at least 4 times of this in the next 20 years. That's the minimum that India will actually achieve over the next 20 years itself.
Absolutely. Also, government investment is playing a central role. How is India's focus on infrastructure, as you also mentioned at the beginning, and CAPEX improved a long-term growth potential rather than just short-term stimulus?
So, like, if you really look at the world itself, like whenever countries have invested in infrastructure, they have always grown over a period of time. If you look at, say, Germany, or if you look at United States, they invested in infrastructure in the 1960s, or Germany invested in 1940s during the World War. And their benefit has actually been accrued even till now. What we are seeing in India is that infrastructure investments, especially the road infrastructure, and the technology infrastructure, there are two things. So movement of goods is becoming much easier. If you really look at the time taken for movement of goods from one part of the country to the other part of the country, it is significantly reduced. It reduces the cost of movement as well. The other thing is the technology infrastructure that India has actually built, especially the Jan Dhan Aadhaar mobile thing that has happened. So the kind of banking availability that is there for people around the board, how women have actually got embedded into the system. These are infrastructure things, but what happens is the way people get involved into it is very, very high. And when you talk about hard infrastructure, let's say when you talk about roads, etc., the kind of employment that you see or that generates is very, very significant. The multiplier it creates is very significant. I think as we move ahead in terms of higher investments in infrastructure, and I do expect that government is going to improve that figure in terms of investments in the next budget itself that comes in the next few weeks. We would start seeing much better prospects. And this is an investment which is going to give you benefits for the next 20, 30, 40 years. It's not something which is just going to be a short-term benefit. There is an immediate benefit of employment, etc. The later benefit is in terms of movement of goods, movement of people, how trade is going to happen, how easy the trade will actually happen. The next thing is going to be, and as the government has really been talking about, that how do we ease the what I call pains that happen in terms of doing business, etc. That is also happening. If you really ask me, as an economist, I can just tell you that India has seen the most significant change after 91 to 95. That's a period when reforms have happened. After 2014, India has seen the most significant period of reforms. And we are starting to see those benefits. And this insulation that you're really talking about, this growth that you're really talking about, is the effect that has happened after about 7 or 8 years. It was not immediate, but we are seeing those benefits. Assuming India stops still today, India stops doing everything, because of the inertia, the momentum that has actually been created because of these investments, we will continue to grow at about 6 to 7%.
You've been speaking about the government reforms, but the UN also cites recent tax reforms and monetary easing as growth enablers. How have these policy measures improved the business confidence and investment sentiment overall?
So if you really look at the what happens is, like, whenever the demand conditions improve, like what is business looking at? Business is always looking at domestic markets. What these reforms have done is that these reforms have unlocked the consumption potential of India to a greatest possible extent. I do suspect, or I do expect, that more reforms are going to happen on GST. They might actually get reduced further over a period of time. But as it happens, the unlocking of consumption does happen. And when unlocking of consumption happens, people will start looking at market and start investing. So what we are seeing right now is that there is what I call bump in the domestic investments that we are seeing. You look at the various set of enterprises that are getting created. India is seeing a very important phase right now in terms of enterprise creation. I do not see in terms of like say just FDI. We have to also understand what is the domestic creation of firms. Because when domestic entrepreneurship increases, that means people are starting to look at opportunities in a very unique and distinctive way. And this is what the young are doing right now. So whether you talk about technology, you talk about manufacturing, you talk about goods like say wellness centers, etc., healthcare, we are seeing a huge impetus there. And not only about manufacturing. I think what we are really seeing is a fillip in domestic tourism. There was a recent RBI report which said that UP saw close to about 60 crore people come for tourism there itself. So it is about services also. Like there is a huge shift that is happening, and as we are actually moving along, so investments are happening across the board. We are seeing those benefits accrue over a period of time, right? Yes, we have to accept one thing that right now the consumption levels are at a lower level in terms of like people are spending less in terms of when they go for tourism, but over a period of time it will start increasing and we will start seeing benefits of those as well.
All right. Also, India is growing significantly faster than China and the US, as the report also mentions. Can India's domestic demand-driven model become a template for other emerging economies facing global trade disruptions at the time?
Yes, but like it's a template. It's not a template which is very easy to copy. India had the benefit of a great demographic dividend. The other countries do not have it. They are much smaller. So yes, they can follow this template, but they'll have to rejig it in their own way. If say somebody like Zimbabwe has to follow it, then what they have to do is they have to call for investments. They'll have to create that domestic demand. They'll have to set up or they'll have to make sure that their banking system is right, etc. But it can certainly be a template. But I think there is one big difference that happens, and that is India's population dividend or demographic dividend, which a lot of other countries don't have. India is going to be in this very sweet spot for at least the next 25 years. China also took the benefit of it. US has also taken benefit of it. But consumption models are very, very important when you have large populations. For smaller populations, they have to really increase the GDP per capita very, very quickly. They have to go to much higher levels. Like if you say that India's GDP per capita is $2,800, $2,900 and US is $80,000, it does not, the comparison is not right. For a simple reason, on PPP, India spends more, it consumes more. In Australia versus India, it looks better per capita income, but then the consumption patterns are different and so on and so forth. That's where it.
So, Dr. Amit, very precisely, if you could answer, looking ahead, what policy strengths will be most critical for India to maintain its leadership position among the major economies?
I think one is continuation of policy. Like the biggest benefit India has actually had over the last few years has been that we've had consistent policy. There is a very clear view as to what India is going to do, how India will move. That is something very important. That builds confidence. And if we continue to maintain that trajectory, India will move into the right direction.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Amit Kapoor, for joining us and giving us all those analysis. And time now for a short break. We'll be back in a while. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Khurana. Moving on, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met French President Emmanuel Macron during his visit to France. The minister conveyed the warm wishes of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and deeply appreciated Macron's perspectives on contemporary global developments and positive sentiments for the strategic partnership. Also earlier in the day, Dr. Jaishankar also addressed the Ambassadors' Conference of France and underlined contemporary global shifts driven by factors like trade, finance, technology, energy, resources and connectivity. Changes in mindset have been the crucial factor, as well as the significance of India-France partnership in promoting multipolarity and strategic autonomy. Highlighting the strength of the India-France strategic partnership and shared approaches on global issues, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar addressed the conference alongside French Foreign Minister Noel Barrot. The interaction reflected close coordination between the two countries at the diplomatic level. Dr. Jaishankar underlined that a change in mindset is the most crucial factor in navigating today's complex world. He highlighted the significance of the India-France partnership in promoting multipolarity and strategic autonomy. The Ambassadors' Conference is France's annual diplomatic gathering, bringing together ambassadors from around the world. The conference traditionally includes an interaction with the French president, where France's foreign policy priorities and global outlook are outlined. During the session, ambassadors posted across different countries asked questions to Dr. Jaishankar, leading to an open and wide-ranging exchange on global developments and regional challenges. India's participation in this high-level forum underlines the growing trust between India and France's recognition of India as an important global partner. Bureau Report, DD India. And the New Delhi World Book Fair 2026 is all set to begin at New Delhi's Bharat Mandapam with a powerful theme honoring the Indian military history. Spanning 9 days, the fair brings together global publishers, authors, cultural programs, children's activities and international exchanges, offering readers an expansive look at books, ideas and conversations shaping today's literary landscape. Ahead Festival, DD India's Deepika had an exclusive conversation with Colonel Yuvraj Malik, Director, National Book Trust, India, who tells us all about the world event. Take a listen.
Hello and welcome to this exclusive segment. We are joined with a very special guest with us. Sir, thank you so much for joining and talking exclusively to DD India. The 53rd edition, what exactly is so much special about this specific edition of New Delhi World Book Fair?
New Delhi Book Fair is one of the official book fair of the Government of India and India as a nation. And every year everyone is expecting it to come with a new flavor. This year the most significant feature is its theme, which is dedicated to the armed forces, which says Indian military history, valor and wisdom at 75. So we are going to put up a good exhibition, a theme pavilion with the help of books, screens, presentations and exhibitions showcasing the historic contribution of our armed forces. Other than that, to outreach to the wider audience, we have made this book fair completely entry free. There's no fee, there's no restriction, there's no registration. So anybody who wants to come is most welcome to explore the entire book fair. Of course, there are many other features like we have literary stages, we have author corner, we have Lekak Manch, we have a dedicated children pavilion in hall number 6, exclusively catering to children requirement. Then we have an amphitheater running with cultural activities. So altogether, it's a great, amalgamation of art, literature and culture packed in 9 days, free of cost to the people and the readers, and most anticipated affair of the year. Also,
Colonel Malik, more than 35 countries are participating this time, and Qatar is the guest of honor, whereas Spain is the country of focus. Yeah. Tell us why both the countries have been shortlisted under these segments, and what is it making global this time?
Yeah, this is like I say, New Delhi Book Fair is one of the biggest book fair in the world. It's a global book fair, and we have more than 35 countries participating in it. Qatar is the guest of honor country. We have a very strong cultural lineage with India and Qatar relationship. To take it forward through literary exchange, the cultural exchange, the literary dialogue, and this guest of honor presentations help us to understand their literature, showcase their other aspects of the cultural and regional diversity, and exchange of writers, speakers, author, and also the artist. So altogether, it's a great way to know a country in a soft spot. And similarly, Spain, as a focus country, we have a great literary dialogue with them for over a long decade of collaborations. Now again, the same way, we'll get to know about India and Spain literary dialogue also. So this is the way it helps to connect two nations culturally and literary model.
And also tell us about the e-Rashtriya Pustakalaya, because the world is going digital and India is known now for that in the entire world. What makes it digital this time?
Yeah, Rashtriya Pustakalaya is the great initiative by Ministry of Education and especially Government of India in a way to outreach to people with e-learning. So this is in a portal where more than 6,000 books in 22 languages are readily available. With one click you can download them free of cost, lifetime. There is no fee or restriction or any registration required for that. And we are going to upgrade it further. So anyone who comes to book fair, with one click you can take home 6,000 plus books of different age group, different languages and different genres. So this is the very significant initiative to make India read.
And when we talk about the different age groups which you just mentioned, youth is a very important cog in the wheel when we talk about India's vision of becoming a developed nation by the year 2047. How are we ensuring that youth engages at a maximum level this time?
Yeah, absolutely. Youth are our strength. Youth dividend is something that the country has been speaking about and realizing its potential. Our idea to make this ticket free is to attract maximum youth only, because when they come, they engage, they see the diversity of content, they get inspired and they connect it with the book. And the moment they get connected with the book, we are automatically realizing the dream of, Atmanirbhar Bharat, we call it, self-reliant nation, that goes directly through knowledge economy. So this knowledge economy concept is directly promoted by inviting more and more youth engagement with this. And we are giving them a package of like books and literary sessions. They can meet the author of their choice. They can have children activities, then they can have cultural participation. So I'll say not only youth, it's a complete family activity where the entire family can come and engage in a very constructive way in different formats.
Tell us, how difficult was it to put everything together in a perfect manner and to make it engaging?
See, it's a challenge, of course, but there's an opportunity in that to showcase your culture, to showcase your knowledge, to showcase your literature, your publishing. And India is the fastest, third fastest growing publishing industry in the world. So when we bring together 1,000 plus publishers, 3,000 plus stalls, more than 600 literary sessions, so we are able to even project as a nation how strong is our robust education system, how robust is our learning and publishing. So putting them together over a period of time, and these are institutions. Institutions work in a very organized format. We have to just keep on adding our values every year. So this year, of course, we have been able to scale up than last year and added some more features. So I don't feel it's something very, very difficult. Yes, it's full of challenges, how to retain creativity, how to maintain the engagement, how people come and they should feel enriched. And of course, when they go home, they should go happy and satisfied with a lot of value addition. And I'm sure the way we have curated this year event, it will be a great enriching experience for everyone.
And we could hear that there are very interesting segments where artists will be performing. If you can throw light on that.
Yeah, definitely. We have curated a very, very specific area for cultural activities. It's an amphitheater with 3,000 plus capacity, where every day in the evening around 4:30 we'll start with cultural activities. One activity from our focus country, Spain, one from the guest of honor country, Qatar, and then our folk dance, folk music. We have invited army bands to perform there. We have invited Grammy Award winner like Ricky Cage and other bands which are doing very well in the country. So it's a complete package, modern also and conventional also. So I'm sure after the end of the day, when you're done with your books, done with your literary sessions, you can come, sit and relax and have a cup of coffee from the food court just next to it. So you will get all amenities and a ticket is free. Parking is readily available, very well connected. So I'm sure it's a great experience as a family, as a society that everyone should engage.
And lastly, how do you think this kind of exhibition, this kind of program can bring India to the global level at that stage where India is aiming to become one of them?
Definitely. I give you one more indication to that, that more than 11 book fair directors across the world, leading 11 book fair, their CEOs, MDs and directors are visiting the book fair. It shows that how quickly and how fast we are rising as a knowledge economy, how fast we are rising as a publishing ecosystem, and most importantly, as you said, our education and knowledge are very closely interrelated. So it's a great way to showcase your soft power, and that's how you create attention and you get focus, and these leads to not only knowledge economy but also the economy aspect in general get boosted.
All right, thank you so much, Colonel Yuvraj Malik, for talking to us, the director of NBT. So get ready to attend the New Delhi World Book Fair, where it's not only about books, but a lot of entertainment and knowledge as well. With camera person Gaurav, this is Deepika reporting for DD India from New Delhi.
And some updates from West Asia situation now. A nationwide internet blackout was reported in Iran on Thursday as protests over economic hardships continued around the country. The movement, which originated with a shutdown on the Tehran Bazaar on December 28, 2025, after the real currency plunged to record lows. Unrest has since spread nationwide amid deepening distress over economic privations arising from rocketing inflation driven by mismanagement and Western sanctions and curbs on political and social freedom. The movement has also spread to higher education, with final exams. Tehran's major Amir Kabir University postponed for a week. Local media and official statements have reported at least 21 people, including security forces, have died since the unrest began in late December. Moreover, U.S. President Donald Trump, meanwhile, warned on Thursday to take severe action against Iran if its authorities start killing people, warning Washington would hit them very hard. And the U.S. Senate advanced a resolution on Thursday that would bar President Donald Trump from further military action against Venezuela without congressional authorization. The vote on a procedural measure to advance the war powers resolution was 52-47, as 5 Republicans also voted with Democrats in favor of moving ahead. One Republican senator did not vote. The voting took place 5 days after Trump ordered a military operation to capture Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro. It was a significant victory for lawmakers who have been arguing that Congress, not the president, should have the power to send troops to war as spelled out in the Constitution. Thursday's vote paved the way for Senate debate and a vote on final passage in the Senate next week. Also, Trump condemned the Republicans who voted for the resolution, saying in a post on X that the party should be ashamed of the senators that just voted with the Democrats in attempting to take away our powers to fight and defend the United States of America. He added this vote greatly hampers American self-defense and national security, impeding the president's authority as commander-in-chief. And Venezuela on Thursday began releasing a large number of political prisoners, including several foreigners. The releases are the first since Maduro's former deputy Delcy Rodriguez took over with the backing of President Donald Trump. Renowned Spanish Venezuelan activist Rocio San Miguel, imprisoned since February 2024 over a purported plot to assassinate Maduro, was among the 5 Spanish citizens freed. The White House credited Trump with securing the prisoners' freedom. Venezuela's opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, hailed the release of political prisoners there on Thursday, saying it showed that injustice would not prevail in the country. And Syria's defense ministry announced a ceasefire in several neighborhoods of Aleppo on Friday after deadly clashes with Kurdish fighters. In a statement, the ministry said the truce was aimed at preventing further military escalation in residential areas and would take effect at 3 a.m. local time in the Sheikh Maqsood, Alash Sharif and Bani Zaid neighborhoods. The announcement comes after days of clashes between the Syrian government troops and the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces. In the city, violence that has left at least 21 people dead. And 4 astronauts will return from the International Space Station more than a month ahead of schedule after an unnamed crew member experienced a medical issue. NASA has not provided details about the nature of the problem, citing privacy concerns. The agency typically does not discuss the specifics of health matters related to astronauts. The 4 astronauts on NASA's SpaceX Crew 11, U.S. members Mike Finke and Zena Cardman, along with Japan's Kimiya Yui and Russia's Oleg Oleg Platonov would return within the coming days to one of the routine splashdown sites. The 4 astronauts set to return have been on their mission since August 1st. Such journeys generally last approximately 6 months, and this crew was already due to return in the coming weeks. Continuously inhabited since 2000, the ISS functions as a test bed for research that supports deeper space exploration, including eventual mission to Mars. And time now for a short break. We'll be back in a while.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Kuranan. On to some sports news now. India's 2-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu progressed to the semi-final of the Malaysia Open after her opponent, third seed Akane Yamaguchi of Japan, retired midday due to injury on Friday. In the solitary set that the world numbers 18 and 3 completed in the quarter-finals, Sindhu quickly reached 21-11 in 12 minutes before Yamaguchi asked the chair umpire that her injury is hampering her movement and she could no longer continue. Early on Thursday, Sindhu defeated 8th seed Tomoka Miyazaki of Japan in the second-round match on Thursday. In men's doubles, third seed Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj Rankareddy will take on sixth seed doubles pair of Fikri and Alfian of Indonesia on Friday. The top Indian double pair got better of Junaidi Arif and Roy King Yap on Thursday, securing a 21-18, 21-11 win in 39 minutes, thus extending their head-to-head record against the Malaysian pair to 4-0. And the stage is set for another exciting season of women's cricket as the Women Premier League returns with its 4th edition. The teams are reshaped after the mega auction, new captains, fresh coaching setups and a few notable absences. WPL 2026 promises plenty of intrigue even before the first ball is bowled. Defending champions Mumbai Indians will get the tournament underway against Royal Challengers Bengaluru as the league unfolds across Navi Mumbai and Vadodara. Here's more.
The much-awaited Women's Premier League is set to return with its 4th edition, bringing fresh excitement after the auction reshaped all franchises. The season will open on Friday with a blockbuster clash as defending champions Mumbai Indians, led by the World Cup winning captain Harmanpreet Kaur, take on the Royal Challengers Bengaluru, led by 2025's highest run scorer Smriti Mandhana. Both teams enter the tournament with reshaped squads. Two-time champions Mumbai Indians and 2024 winners RCB will miss the services of some key players. The tournament will be played across 2 key venues, the D.Y. Patil Stadium in Navi Mumbai and Kotambi Stadium in Vadodara. The first 11 matches will be held in Navi Mumbai, with the remaining 11 matches, including the eliminator and the final, shifting to Vadodara. Notably, double headers return for the first time since the inaugural WPL season. There has been significant movement off the field as well. Delhi Capitals will be led by Jemima Rodrigues, taking over the captaincy from Meg Lanning, who will now captain UP Warriors. 3 franchises also begin the season with new head coaches. Lisa replaces Charlotte Edwards at Mumbai Indians. Malolan Rangarajan takes charge of RCB, while Abhishek Nair steps in as head coach of UP. Several big international names will be missing from this edition. Elise Perry of RCB and Annabelle Sutherland of Delhi Capitals have withdrawn for personal reasons. RCB have named Sayali as Perry's replacement, leaving them with only 5 overseas players in their squad, while DC have brought in Alana King. Meanwhile, Elisa Healy, Chamaria Tapattu and Heather Knight went unsold at the auction, while Jess Jonathan, Tahila McGrath, and Sophie chose not to register. There are plenty of exciting players to watch out for. Lizelle Lee, now with Delhi Capitals, comes into the tournament after a stellar WBBL season, scoring 305 runs at an average of 38.12 and a strike rate of 154.82. DC have also added 16-year-old Diya Yadav, an uncapped batter from Haryana, who has modelled her game on Shefali Verma. For Mumbai Indians, fast bowler Millie Illingworth, inspired by Jeff Thompson and capable of touching the 120 km/h mark, adds an intriguing pace option. With new faces and fresh leadership, the WPL shapes up as a season of transition and opportunity. As teams fine-tune their combinations and players look to make their mark ahead of the global calendar, the league once again promises high-quality competition and compelling stories, setting the tone for another landmark chapter in the WPL and women's cricket. Sports Desk, DD India.
And in a massive blow for the Indian cricket team, Asia Cup final hero Tilak Verma has been ruled out from the first 3 T20 internationals of the upcoming 5-match series against New Zealand. Tilak Verma has suffered the groin injury, which has further put a doubt on his inclusion in ICC T20 World Cup 2026. Verma has been a key batter of the Indian side in the T20 international setup over the last year. The stylish left-handed batter played a crucial role in his side's Asia Cup 2025 win. Since his debut, he has played 40 matches and 37 innings, amassing 1,183 runs at a fantastic average of 49.29. The 5-match T20 international series between India and New Zealand will be played from January 21st to January 31st. And Faridabad hosted the opening ceremony of the Special Olympics Bharat National Futsal Championships on Thursday, celebrating inclusion and sporting spirit. Haryana Minister Vipul Goyal attended the ceremony as the chief guest and declared the championships open. Special Olympic Bharat President Dr. Malika Nadda also graced the event. A total of 230 players from 20 states are competing in the championship. Here is more.
Faridabad witnessed the celebration of inclusion, ability and sporting spirit on Thursday with the opening ceremony of the Special Olympics Bharat National Futsal Championships at the Manav Rachna Educational Institution. The event brought together athletes with intellectual disabilities from across the country. The ceremony was graced by Vipul Goyal, Minister of Revenue and Disaster Management, Urban Local Bodies and Civil Aviation, Government of Haryana. He attended as chief guest and formally declared the championships open.
नई ऊंचाइयां छूने का काम कर रहा है, चाहे देश के अंदर टूर्नामेंट हो चाहे इंटरनेशनल टूर्नामेंट हो. जितने पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं उससे ज़्यादा मेडल भारत ले रहा है और बच्चों को एक मुख्य धारा में लाने का काम, उनको इंक्लूजन के साथ साथ इक्वलिटी का जो संदेश इस गेम के थ्रू जा रहा है, मैं समझता हूँ एक बहुत ही अच्छा इनिशिएटिव.
Also present on the occasion were Dr. Malika Nadda, President Special Olympics Bharat, Upasana Arora, President Special Olympics Delhi, and Mukesh Shukla, President Special Olympics Uttar Pradesh, and Amit Bhalla, Vice President of Manav Rachna Educational Institutions. Their presence highlighted the collective commitment towards empowering athletes through sport.
Special Olympics believes in participation, not in competition. So we want more and more such children to participate in sports. So we have done well in all the sports activities previously, and we are sure that our athletes will do wonders and bring laurels for the country.
But it is a very good opportunity for all these athletes that they have come here. So for international level, we have organized this national level futsal, and I think after some time you will see futsal will be again a very, very popular game among all our games, like we are doing football and all.
More than 250 players from 20 states are taking part in the championships. This national championship also serves as a build-up event for the 2027 Special Olympics World Summer Games, scheduled to be held in Santiago, Chile. Each match played here is a step towards representation and excellence. Narayan Singh's report for DD India.
And Paris Saint-Germain beat Marseille on penalties to win a topsy-turvy French champion trophy in Kuwait on Thursday. PSG goalkeeper Lucas Chevalier was the hero of the night, saving 2 spot kicks as PSG took the penalty lottery 4-1 after a frantic end to the match left the two sides locked at 2-2. This was PSG's record-extending 14th win in the equivalent of France's Super Cup in a game virtually shunned by both sides' fans due to travel cost. The fixture, traditionally between the Ligue 1 champion and French Cup winner, has led a nomadic existence over the years as the French Football Federation seeks to promote Ligue 1 beyond its borders. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both. Download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.